family. The gallery has been here for 5 years. We're celebrating our 5th anniversary. Things kicked off on Thursday. We have everything from live music to, of course, poetry, spoken word, all sorts of genres of music through over 3 days. And so these are the kinds of things that we do here at the gallery throughout our program year, as well as the visual arts. We represent about 45 artists, both Northwest and internationally. And so the gallery is really doing its best to show some of the best work literally in the region. We're not patting ourselves on the back. The artists that we represent are just really showing some amazing work. Do spend some time with the current show. It's called Driven to Abstraction. There are 3 Northwest abstractionist artists, Becky Knoll, Vic Wade, and Elmore Williams Jr. In fact, it's all 3 of their debut here at the gallery. So at any rate, moving forward with our programming today, with some very creative, dynamic spoken word artists, as well as writers and poets and things like that. And so we're going to listen astutely. And so without any further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Mrs. McDade. And so we call her Georgia.
Good afternoon, everybody. And I too am glad that you took the time to come. Other troopers are on their way. And trooper is a good way to describe us because we've been doing this as a group since 1991. And some days we're very busy, the African American Writers Alliance, and other days we're not very busy, other weeks we're not very busy, but we are happy to be part of this. So I decided I would read this poem I call A Mind of Its Own. And that's it, I'll just read. My consciousness has a mind of its own. I say what I will not think about, yet my consciousness often takes over. Blue angels, for instance. I love the blue angels. Despite the energy use, noise pollution, traffic snarls, crowd attraction, scared beings, unfair recruitment, and old-fashioned imperialism. I love the blue angels. But I never see them without thinking about Bigger Thomas. You know Bigger, don't you? A creation of Richard Wright. Bigger says, those white boys sure can fly. As he's walking down the street and planes streak over his head. When he makes the statement, perhaps he had no idea one could take it so many ways. But for me, the white boys can fly over the fictitious Bigger and the real me in countless ways. Still. Another example. I drink from a water fountain. I want only a cold drink. But 2, maybe 3 out of 10 times I'm reminded of colored and white signs, including times when I'm in a place overwhelmingly filled with Black people. Or I get on a bus, another rare occurrence, but I still remember the 11-year-old me who learned I could not sit in the front of the bus. And there are my teachers being forced to buy an outfit and take it home to try it on. If for some reason the garment was not satisfactory, they had to trek back to the store to select another or get a refund. I wonder how often someone kept something because returning it was such a strain in more ways than one. Still another example. Seldom do I use the public restroom. However, my mind recalls all those years of not being allowed to use any public restroom other than the one designated in one store in all downtown. Montgomery Wards will always be on a pedestal for me. Although somewhere along the way I began wondering if maybe Wards won the lottery and was forced to let color choose their restrooms. Sitting in the balcony in a theater, entering the front door of a doctor's office, dining at any restaurant I choose, having a photo taken, visiting the library, sitting in a courtroom. The list of what was colored and white and the rules governing it and why could be longer. But I'm trying to rest my mind from those thoughts that in some ways are long ago, but in other ways, as near as the day the first incident occurred and the consciousness became aware. Thank you. And I wrote that one on Seafair Day in 2012. The next poem I wrote in March of 2012. And as I've often said, for all of the people who believe so many African Americans are being killed right now, or the past year or so, there are a number of us who know that this is not new. This has been happening for years. So as they talk about Eric Garner and Trayvon, and the list goes on, I remind people quite often that I have poems about Emmett Till, because I remember that quite well. But it didn't stop me from writing about Trayvon Martin. If there had been candy in the house, then if the little brother had not wanted candy, then if a parent had told the big brother not to go, then if the mother had not let the big brother visit his father, then if the big brother had not gone to get candy, then if the pursuer had followed the dispatcher's order, then if the young man had not talked to the pursuer, then if the young man had not been wearing a hoodie, then dare I say, if the young man had not been black. Flashback almost 10 years to all of the boy warriors. Flashback almost 50 years to 3 young men. Flashback almost 60 years to a young man who whistled. Flashback almost 250 years to a young man out looking for wood to make a drum. Flashback more than 2,000 years when a troubled king decreed boys aged 2 and under be slain. How many times have how many boys been killed for so little? Is there anything to be said or done? All the ifs in all the world will negate not one killing nor capture, just as all the thens in all the world will resurrect not one young man. The title of this poem is War and Fair. And I've forgotten, I don't have the date here, but I wrote it before the Iraq War. And it pains me to see supposedly intelligent people who think we ought to bomb Iran rather than say, well, at least we have this, let's see what we can do with it. So I wrote this. Fair. Fair, people. All is fair in war. All is fair in war, people. What makes decapitating worse than bombing? Is it the up-close personal killing of the one versus the aim, fire, killing of the other? Is it the immediate certain death of the one versus the eventual certain deaths of the many? Fear and restriction are present before and after the killing, as are impotence and loss. War. It's war, people. In war, everybody loses. And yes, somebody loses less or more. That's as close as I can come to fair. Everybody loses. And just to show you that I have some happy poems. The title of this poem is Good Time. And I must admit, I wrote it a very long time ago, 2004. I've had a good time, wonderful time, fabulous time, more time than a great many. yet I want more time. I need more time. Time to see more sunrises and sunsets. Time to see more streams, lakes, oceans, and seas. Time to see more flowers and mountains, especially right here. Time to see more siblings more often. Time to see friends. Time to see folks I don't know. Time to see a play by Shakespeare, Williams, or Miller. Time to hear Mama and Raisin in the Sun and Troy and Fences. Time to hear the inspirational choir and Cookie, Susie, Starla, Venice, Charles, Cherie, and Phyllis. Time to hear Pacino, Hoffman, De Niro, Denzel Washington, and James Earl Jones say anything but a commercial. Time to read another book, see another movie. Time to write more. Time to hear a sermon that makes me believe all over again. Time to dance another night away. Time to entertain and be entertained. Time to eat more barbecue, boiled corn, potato salad, potato pie, collards, catfish, salad, gumbo, homemade ice cream, Louisiana watermelon, Szechuan or Thai, anything. I've had good time, yet I want more time. Okay. I think that's it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.